posted AP happy for a couple of hours. So I mean, make sure that I got the got something on there. So, and actually, she was cute. She actually said, "Put your phone down." She actually sent me a note and even made a comment too. So.
I had to make sure you were doing it right.
Make sure I was not being an idiot. So, but one thing happened on this car ride that I thought to be very interesting, and I'll tell you about that in a second. First, though, I want to talk about this. I sit in the passenger seat of the car for two reasons. Number one, my wife will not let me drive anywhere we go.
I wonder why.
Why?
She thinks that my driving is bad, and I don't understand where she got that idea. Maybe it's from all the bad press that I've gotten from you guys about how horrible of a driver I am. So she was a passenger, or she was the driver, and I was the passenger in this car the entire way. And the listeners got a chance to witness this when I took the video of us driving somewhere in the middle of, here in Chicago. And the comments were atrocious. How dare all of our guy listeners, in one particular, listen to this comment. The comment was, "Mojo, turn your phone off and put it in your purse. What kind of a man are you that you're letting your woman drive?" First off, I do have a Louis, and I love LV, love my Louis. And secondly, why am I not allowed to sit in the passenger seat? Why is it that a guy always has to drive? People were commenting then on that.
The patriarchy.
Yeah, people are all commenting about a guy not being able to drive or not driving, and how it's less manly that I am not driving.
That is so stupid.
Yeah,
So
you be a passenger princess if you want to be.
Man, I love to be chauffeured. It was like the greatest thing in the world, Mike. Right?
Dude, I drive most of the time too, but it sounds glorious. Was it great to just sit back and not have to drive?
Mike, first off, no. Sometimes it actually is a little emasculating, demasculating, whatever it is, because I would love to drive, only when we go through the drive-thrus. That's usually it.
I was thinking about this when I saw that video, because I thought, ooh, your attention is not even being taken up by having to focus on driving.
Yeah.
You're sitting in the passenger seat without your phone. That for you had to be so brutal.
I had to be so present. You would not believe how present I had to be.
So what did you guys talk about while she was driving
we talked about, first off, I do want to say this. We can call her. I don't know if she's wanting, I guess I could call her. We talked about a lot of things. I'm going to be honest with you. Driving in the car was a lot of fun without a phone. That was awesome. Because I stayed pretty much away from my phone for most of the weekend too, like even just going when we went to eat and stuff. The only hard part of being off my phone was when we were in restaurants. At certain parts of like going out to eat, like I felt a little kind of like a drug addict without my fix,
Yeah.
I can't come to the...
Oh, she's not. She's
probably sleeping.
Yeah, no, I don't know if she is. I think she's up early.
All that driving, she's tired.
By the way, do you look less of me because of
No. I think being a passenger poppy is cool.
Poppy, I like that better.
Yeah. I think that's all right. I mean, typically, I think as men, we always, you open the door for your lady, you drive the car, you make sure she's good. But if she want to drive, let her do her thing, as long as she can drive.
She did. And on the way home, I got right into the driver's seat because we ended up parking the car at the hotel that we stayed at, and the valet pulled it up. And so naturally, I got over there, to give the tip and stuff like that because, I had some cash on me. And also, I didn't want that valet to look at me different. So I get in the driver's seat, and Chelsea's like standing there, like, "Wait, hey, get out of the car." And I'm like, "I'll drive until we get out of the city, until nobody can see us anymore."
That's the worst part for you to drive in. Traffic. Heavy traffic.
No. But I grew up in Chicago, and I know I'm a very strong driver.
And how many years, Mojo, have you lived in Detroit?
I've lived here many, many years. More years than I've lived in Chicago.
Yeah, and I'm still terrified of you driving here, so I don't trust you in Chicago either.
Come on, you got to have my back. You're rested from a vacation. Lisa, what's going on? It's Mojo in the morning. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing okay. Is there anything wrong with me letting my wife drive?
I mean, I'm the driver in my relationship, and so is my mom, so I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's fine, right? I mean, I think it's okay. I mean, you don't think any differently of your dad, right?
No, of course not. And my boyfriend just doesn't do expressways, so
Yeah. Oh, is he afraid
Why
of?
not?
He's afraid of driving on the big roads.
he just has an old car and is worried it's just going to
Yeah.
break down.
Yeah. It was. I will say this, that it was kind of like, I thought I was going to sleep on Friday because I was up for the whole show, and I didn't sleep. It kept me awake. Talking.
Yeah.
It kept me awake having conversation. And Shannon, on a serious note, you were asking like what we talked about.
Yeah.
We talked about everything.
Yeah.
We talked about when we first met. We talked about when we first had children, because just this past week, our oldest son was born. Joe had his birthday, so we were talking about that. We talked about what we were going to do in Chicago. Talked about the anticipation of meeting Jacob's boyfriend.
Yeah.
And talked about Jacob, because Jacob is one of those that's so close to Chelsea, and so there's a lot of times where I have to ask her updates on him because they talk so much, and he and I don't talk as much as I do with Luke and Joe. Like Luke and Joe and Chelsea and I, we all talk. Jacob's pretty much to himself or his mom, and so I was asking questions to get to know what to ask about questions. You know what I mean? So it didn't look like I was too out of it a little bit. And then we started just talking about mile markers. I'm like, there's mile marker 43. And I was like,
Bro.
hey, have you ever been to Marshall, Michigan? No, neither have I.
It's no stress as a passenger. Like, you mean, especially if you're like confident in the person that's driving.
No.
It's no better vibe. What do you mean no? It's no better vibe than just relaxing and chilling and controlling the playlist.
I think it's because of the people that I'm the passenger for.
Yeah.
And that, they're the worst drivers in the entire world. And it's so stressful, too. Because if you backseat drive enough, they start yelling at you even more, which just heightens the anxiety.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of white knuckling the door handle, because if you do the oh no bar, then they yell at you for that. So it's just the door handle, because that's kind of hidden.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's terrifying.
You know,
I hate
only
being a
reason that
passenger. I drive everywhere.
Yeah.
The only reason I drive everywhere is because I get car sickness if I don't. Like, and I don't know if I don't think it's the person that's driving. I think it's just me.
Yeah.
And that's from like looking at my phone or I don't know, ADD or something. But that's the only reason. I'll even drive my wife's car. Like, not for any manly reason. It's just because I get car sick.
Yeah.
I usually like to drive because I like to control the aux cords. You know that we did not even listen to music when we were driving?
Really?
Isn't that crazy?
That's actually
That was a lot
huge
of
for you
conversation.
because you love being DJ in the car.
We didn't.
And you play like 30 seconds of a song, and then you go, oh, wait, remember this one? Oh, wait, and then you play 30 seconds, and you go, wait. And then it always comes to this. Do you know in 2005, we had the Goo Goo Dolls in the studio? Let me play you this acoustic performance of the Goo Goo Dolls in the studio every single time.
I'm Casey Kasem. Rochelle, what's going on?
Hi, yeah, I'm definitely the driver in my marriage because I have anxiety so bad. I'm the passenger that's like slamming on the air brake, the imaginary brake, passenger
Yeah.
side. My husband always yells at me that I'm going to cause an accident before he does because I scream so bad.
Yeah, you know what? If you do have the anxiety of driving, it's so important that you have to be that person behind that wheel. I totally understand it.
I just got to be in control.
And let's tell these guys, come on, guys, let's get into the modern times here. It's okay. Chelsea's on with us. Chelsea, you were in the
Morning.
shower when I called.
I was.
Tell me a little bit about it.
Okay, let's rewind.
Now we were talking about the drive. Did the drive there seem as fast as it seemed to me?
At moments.
Come on. But I was telling these guys, I'm like, man, it really felt to me good. Like, it felt good not having the phone. Now, on the way home, I did pick up my phone a couple of times. Matter of fact, how many times did I pick up my phone? How many?
7.
7. She counted. So
It's not bad.
on the way home, we stopped off in East Lansing to go see Luke and take him to go eat, which actually was kind of nice. It was right on it only added maybe 30 minutes to the drive. It wasn't really that like horrible at all. But a couple of times I got a little, Sunday scaries and wanted to pick up my phone a couple of times, and she noticed. She was actually counting.
You bet. That was okay.
Yeah. But it was fun. It was a good weekend. It was a lot of fun. And then we came back home and we taped our podcast yesterday. And let me just say this to you. We recap a lot about last We Don't podcast on that podcast. It's interesting. There's some interesting parts of that thing. And then talk about meeting Jacob's boyfriend on that podcast, too. So
Can't wait to hear it.
Deadly Ted.
why will you not let me drive? It's,
Because you are a horrible driver.
I think that it's all a myth. How many accidents have I been into in my life, and how many tickets have I had?
It's more how
Well,
many red lights have I seen you go through?
And how many lanes you veer into. And how many, like, you're just a very, even without your phone, you're a distracted driver. I want to get there safely. Excuse me. So it's okay if I drive.
I'm like you know your grandpa that drives, like your great grandpa that drives, and he's got like the biggest car on the road. It's like a big old boat Cadillac or Lincoln Continental, and you're like, and he's like veering back and forth. That sometimes is me.
Yeah. Well.
You stay, like when you switch lanes, you kind of stay in the middle. I get anxiety when you drive.
She was
It's
giving.
better for my heart if I drive.
Yeah, she was giving me driver's ed lessons too. She's like, "Do you know what this lane is for?" And I'm like, "To drive fast."
Okay, wait. Ask her, what is the left lane for?
What is the
When
in a
you're on
3-lane
the-
highway? What is the far left lane for?
The speedsters.
The speedsters. Okay, that's what you said.
Same.
Speedsters.
You're going real
Fastest,
fast. The
yeah.
fast lane.
Megan, Mike, what is that lane for?
The passing lane.
Carpool lane.
Who's right?
Megan is correct.
Megan is correct.
Megan is correct. Yep.
It's the passing lane.
But in Ohio, we
What
call
does
it
that
the
mean?
camping lane because
does
that's
that
where
mean?
people don't pass. They just block you.
Yeah.
What does the passing lane mean?
So
What does that mean?
annoying.
You're only supposed to
So
pass in that lane. You're not supposed to just camp. You're not supposed to be in that lane like
You're
Megan
not
said.
supposed to stay in that lane. You get over in that lane to pass people and then get back over.
Yeah, everybody's supposed to drive on the right side of the road.
Yeah.
So what's the
Exactly.
fast? So there's no such thing as a fast lane.
No. Every lane should be fast lanes, right?
But that's not it. The left is the fastest, the middle is the middle, and then the right
It's
is
just
where
for
the slow
passing.
lanes
That's
are.
what I know.
Yeah.
That's not the way it's supposed to be, but that's the way we all drive.
Karen wants to say shout out to Chelsea for not letting me drive because you don't let your guy drive.
No, I've been driving my husband for our entire existence of our relationship, which is like 30 years. And I think the only time he's ever driven me is when I've had our 4 children.
Or driven you nuts.
Yeah, I can't. The only thing that bugs me, though, is the radio becomes a fight than when he's in the passenger side because he's constantly turning the channel.
Wait a second. You almost drove yourself to the hospital to give birth to your children?
No. I said that's the only time.
I know, I'm
he's
saying,
ever
but
driven.
would you have if you could have?
Probably.
That bad.
I love it. All right.
I just like driving. I just don't like his driving. It's just the way it is.
All right. Well, listen. You tell
All right.
what's his name?
His name's Robert.
Tell Robert if he wants to, we can drive together, and I'll let him drive.
All right. And you know what? And I'll drive all of you wherever you want to
I
go.
love it. It's all right. What kind of van do we have? Do we have like a big enough van for all of us?
Actually, I do drive a Pacifica. I got 4 kids.
Perfect. I love it. Wouldn't it be funny? Chelsea and I in the back of the Pacifica. Actually, me and Robert in the back of the Pacifica, you and Chelsea in the front seat.
Yeah, you and Robert, me and Chelsea in front, and we're going to tell you where we're going, and we're going to do it our way.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
Jeez.
All right. Bye.
All right, have a good one.
See you guys.
Oh, what happened? You went out on a few dates, had Thanksgiving, and now you're getting ghosted?
No, please.